Hey, Jim Wolf here with dating advice for men who love women. So what should you do when you ask a woman out and she tells you that she's busy? This situation comes up all the time for men, and the way you handle it can have a big impact on your results with women, so I had to make a training about it. So when you take a risk and you ask a woman out on a date, you ask her to have coffee with you, you ask her to meet you for a happy hour, you ask her out for dinner, etc. And then she responds to that with something like, "Sorry, I can't do it on Wednesday, I'm busy." Or, "I'd love to, but I'm going out with my friends that night." Or, "I'd love to, but I have to go take care of my friend's parakeet that night," or whatever it is. When she says that she's busy in one way or another, how should you handle that? Well, first of all, the first thing to keep in mind is that you should not ask her out again right away. You should not ask her out again right away. This is what most guys tend to do when a woman says she's busy, and it's the worst possible thing that you can do in this situation. So just this one tip right now can really improve your dating success. So if you ask a woman out on a date, and then she tells you that she's busy on the day and at the time that you ask her out, and by the way, when you ask a woman out, you should always ask her to meet you on a specific day at a specific time at a specific place. And so if she tells you that she's busy on that day during that time, you definitely don't want to reply and offer her another day and time that works for you right after she responds saying that she's busy. That's the worst thing that you can do. So if she says, "Hey, sorry, I can't make it on Wednesday night, I'm busy," the next text message that most guys will send her in that situation is something like, "Well, what about Thursday? How about Friday, Saturday, Sunday? How about any time from now until the end of the year?" And as soon as you send her that text or you tell her that on the phone, as soon as you offer her another day and time after she says she's busy when you first ask her out, you immediately start killing her interest in you, assuming she has any in the first place. So if she is actually just busy and she is interested in you, as soon as you offer her another day and time where you can hang out with her, you're showing her that you're too available. And that lowers her interest in you, assuming she has some. So you don't want to do that. And if she's just not interested in you, it doesn't matter what you do at all. If a woman's not interested in you, there's nothing you can do to raise her interest. So it's never a good idea to just offer her another day and time when you can hang out after she tells you that she's busy. And again, that's what most guys do. So if you happen to be doing that right now, and then you stop doing that, you're going to see an improvement in your results just from that one little change. So instead of offering her another day and time when you can meet up with her after she says she's busy, what should you do? Well, you have two options. And the first one is to wait a few more days and then ask her out one more time. Okay, so if you send her a text message like, "Hey, let's meet for coffee on Wednesday at 7 p.m. And then she says, "Hey, I'd love to, but I have a work thing that night." Instead of just sending her a text back that says, "Well, how about Thursday then?" Instead of doing that, just wait a few days. Wait until the next week. Wait until the next Monday, let's say, and then ask her out one more time. So the following Monday or Tuesday, then you can say something like, "Hey, let's meet at Wine Bar for happy hour on Thursday at 6 p.m. or whatever it is. So your first option is to not ask her out again right away, and instead wait a few more days, like 4 or 5 or 6 more days, and then ask her out directly again. So that's your first option that you can do. And then the second option that you have is to just simply move on and stop contacting her. Now, that might seem harsh to you, and the reason for that is that your interest in her is very high. So if you don't want to stop contacting her and move on to a new woman, that just means that your interest in her is high. But if you've heard any of my other trainings or you get my newsletter, then you know that I talk about the principle of female interest all the time. The most important factor in your connection with a woman is her interest in you, not your interest in her. What matters is how much she likes you, not how much you like her. And your interest in her does not make her more interested in you. Your interest in her and her interest in you are completely separate, and what matters is how much she likes you. So instead of focusing on how much you like her and how much you want to go out with her, put that aside and start looking at her interest level. Is she interested in you? Your interest in her is implied. We know you're interested in her. Now we got to figure out if she's interested in you. And if she's not, it's okay. Maybe the next woman that you meet will be interested in you. So if you're looking at her interest in you, here's the thing. A woman who's interested in you wants to spend time with you. I know that might sound obvious, but when you're very interested in a woman, it's hard to accept that. It's not rocket science. If a woman is interested in you, she wants to spend time with you, and she will help you try to figure out a way to spend time with her, even if she is busy. That's the biggest key of this presentation. If a woman's making it very difficult for you to spend time with her, odds are very good that she's just not that interested in you, and you should move on to a new woman. Now, again, if you don't quite buy into that principle completely yet, you can just wait a few more days and then ask her out one more time. And if she tells you that she's busy one more time, or she accepts your date invitation but then cancels on you last minute or doesn't show up, and now you've asked her out twice and she hasn't accepted or shown up for your date, then you can definitely move on at that point. If you ask a woman out twice and she doesn't say yes and she doesn't come on the date, assume she's not interested in you for sure and just move on to the next woman. That's your only play in that situation. And that's a perfect segue into the next point about this. There's a concept called a counteroffer. Now, if you ask a woman out and she is interested in you, and she is actually busy on the day and at the time when you ask her out, she will make you what's called a counteroffer. So instead of just saying, "Hey, I can't come, sorry, I'm busy," she'll say something like, "Hey, I'm busy on Wednesday night. Can we do Thursday at 7 o'clock instead?" And that is called a counteroffer. So when she offers you a specific alternative day and time when she can meet up with you, that's called a counteroffer. And that's an indicator that she is actually interested in you. So a woman who's interested in going out with you will either accept your date invitation or she'll make you a specific counteroffer. And just saying, "Hey, we should hang out some other time," doesn't count. It has to be a specific day and time. So a lot of women will just say, "Hey, I can't do it on Wednesday night, let's do it some other time." That's not a counteroffer. A counteroffer means, "Hey, can we do it on Thursday instead?" And if she doesn't accept your date invitation or make you a specific counteroffer, your best option is simply to stop contacting her and move on, no matter how interested you are in her. And that's another big key to dating success. You want to behave the same exact way with every woman that you're dating, regardless of your level of interest in her. Because again, it's not about your interest, it's about her interest. And so when you ask a woman out and she says she's busy without making a specific counteroffer, just finish that texting conversation and then don't contact her again. Or again, if you want, you can try one more time 4, 5, or 6 days later. That's up to you. And by the way, when she doesn't accept your date invitation, you can just reply with something very simple like, "Okay, no problem, let's talk later." Or, "No worries, we'll talk later then." Something simple like that. And then if she responds to that text, don't reply back unless you have to. And then again, if you want, you can wait 5 or 6 days and ask her out again and see if you get the same response or not. Or, like I said, you can just move on. Because here's the thing, there's another possibility that could happen. So let's say you ask a woman out, she declines your date invitation and doesn't make you a specific counteroffer, and then you just decide to move on. Or you just decide to wait 5 or 6 days to ask her out again. Well, during that period, while you're waiting to ask her out again, or if you just simply decided to move on and you're not really thinking about her that much, something interesting could also happen the next day, 2 days later, or even a week later. And that's something that I call the delayed counteroffer. A delayed counteroffer just means that you ask her out, she declines your date invitation without making a specific counteroffer immediately, and then when she realizes that you stopped contacting her after a day or 2 days or 3 days or a week has gone by, and she realizes she hasn't heard from you, sometimes if she's interested in you, she'll reach out to you and make you a delayed counteroffer. So if you ask her out and she declines and then you stop contacting her, 4 or 5 days later, she might send you a text like, "Hey stranger, haven't talked to you for a while. Want to meet me for coffee tomorrow?" Or something like that. That's called a delayed counteroffer. And if she makes you a delayed counteroffer, you can accept that date invitation and then take things normally from there. And another thing that she might do is 3 or 4 or 5 days after you asked her out and she declined, is she just might send you a re-engagement text saying, "Hey stranger, we haven't talked for a while." And then she kind of restarts the conversation. And in that case, just make sure that it's already been 4 to 8 days since the last time you asked her out, and then you can ask her out one more time. So if she re-engages you 2 days later, you don't want to ask her out right then. You still want to wait 2 more days until it's been at least 4 days to ask her out again, even if she contacts you. However, if it's already been 4 or 5 days since you asked her out and now she's re-engaging you by starting a new conversation with you, then you can go ahead and ask her out again during that texting conversation and see how she responds. And again, if you ask her out twice and she declines twice, or she doesn't show up for some reason, then you definitely want to stop contacting her and move on. And then the last thing that I want to talk about in this presentation is an advanced tactic that you can use if you want. Now, you have to be careful with this because if you do it wrong, then it can backfire on you. However, if you do it right, then it can help you. So when you ask a woman out and she tells you that she's busy, in your response to her, you can imply that you're busy also. And that can kind of help improve your standing a little bit, assuming that she's already interested in you. So again, if she's just saying that she's busy as a way to say no to you because she's just not interested in you, it doesn't make any difference what you do. There's no tactic that can help you. However, if she does have some interest in you and she says that she's busy, and then you say, "Hey, no problem, I actually have a busy week too, let's talk later," and then you don't send her any more texts back and forth for a long time, and then a few days later you ask her out again, that improves your standing with her, and it can help you raise her interest in you because you're showing her that you're not too available. You're a busy guy too. You have an awesome full life that you're living. And so if a woman is interested in you and she actually is just busy, but for some reason she doesn't make you a counteroffer right away, and you handle this situation correctly, you can actually raise her interest in you by the next time that you ask her out and then eventually go on a date with her, versus crushing her interest in you by being too available. And that's the biggest key to this situation. So when a woman tells you that she's busy, don't immediately show her how available you are, because if she's not interested in you, it doesn't matter what you do. And if she is interested in you, it will crush her interest in you. So now you know exactly what to do in this situation. And if you want to know exactly what to do in every situation with a woman, from the first moment that you meet her until you've been with her for 75 years, go grab our best-selling Attract and Keep Her system right now. Inside the Attract and Keep Her system, you'll discover how to attract, keep, and build a great relationship with the right woman for you. So go to attractandkeepher.com/system. That's attractandkeepher.com/system. And grab your copy right now. And as always, as a thank you for being awesome and checking out this presentation, we have some free gifts for you as well. We have some advanced free training for you, and you can get that by going to datingadviceformenwholovewomen.com. That's datingadviceformenwholovewomen.com. I'm Jim Wolf with Dating Advice for Men Who Love Women. I'll talk to you later.